Hello. Another informative video done by myself without the aid of anybody else, which always makes it a bit tricky, on how to sand and finish original tongue and groove floor. Right, what I've got is I've spent the last I don't know how many months putting down some subfloor, and I've just put the tongue and groove over the top, which is restored timber that I've got from all the other rooms in the house. And I don't know whether I'm too close or too far away, but anyway, this is how it looks. Isn't that pretty? So what we're going to do now is we're going to use sanders and various other tools, and varnish and filler and lots of things to make it look very, very beautiful. I think it looks beautiful as it is, and I think a lot of people will argue that it looks beautiful as it is and should leave it as it is. But, well, I think we can make it, well, I don't know, a bit better. But anyway, it's pretty damn cold in here. I see me breath earlier, but I put a fire on, which is a good start. And I spent the afternoon tidying the floor, getting everything out of here. I've not really swept too well, but it's looking okay. But I've just cut myself loads of timber to burn. I think it's a good idea, that, because when we get around to doing the varnishing, we don't want to be cutting timber in here anymore, because it'll create dust. And we don't want to be, well, we want to get the room warm so it can make the varnish harden quicker. But anyway, what do you need? This is the idea of this video, is what do you need in order to sand a floor? Well, the first thing you need is a floor sander. Now, it's a big, ugly floor sander. It's a Higher-Tech HD 8-1. I use this in the bedroom. It's good, it's not perfect. There are better ones, I've been told, but it does the job. It's a bit brutal, but it seems to really work. To go with it, I've got a Higher-Tech HT7 edge sander as well. That's an orbital sander. The HT, it's, I don't know if I like them or not. I can't remember liking it last time. They seem to be a bit of a bucking bronco of a device, but I got one just in case, and we'll see how that goes. But when you hire a sander, what you do is you get a load of paper as well. What's good about HSS tool hire, where I get mine from, is you get loads and loads of paper, and whatever you don't use, they don't charge you for it. Whatever you do use, they charge you for it, so you can take as much as you like. The big long ones are the ones for the big floor sander, which I think is a drum sander. I got a couple of sheets of P24 on the left, which are for really, really stubborn floors. Just only need 2 of those. I doubt I'll even use any of those. Then I think there's 6 sheets of P40, 6 sheets of P80, and 6 sheets of P120. 120 being the finest, 40 and 24 being the harshest. And I did the same as well for the orbital sander. I got less, because I don't think I'll use as many. I got a 24, a couple of 24s, 4 40s, 4 80s, and 4 120s. I doubt I'll use all of them, but what I don't use goes back and I don't get charged for it, which is a great way of doing it. It means you don't have to predict everything in advance. It means you don't end up with things that you just don't use. I've got a couple of bags as well. Well, 4 bags. There's 2 bags per container for the drum sander, and 4 for the edge sander as well. You can see, actually, if you look a bit, I started off the edges. I didn't have enough time to do all the edges, but I think that's a really good way of doing it beforehand. Use your own sanders to do the edge to start with, and then just use the great big drum sander to do right in the middle. But anyway, what else do you have to go with this? Well, first of all, you got all your other tools. Now this is what I've got. I tend to use a few of the sanders. It doesn't mean you have to. I mean, you might get away with those first 2 sanders that you've got there. But I have a nice Makita belt sander, which works really well. I think it's a 9304, something like that, a 9403 or something. And that works really well. It goes well around the edges as well. You sort of like poke it into the corners, and that works really well. I've got what do you call it? Is it an orbital sander? I think it's one of those. Anyway, it's just a half sheet sander. I've got a couple of detail sanders. I only got a couple because, well, I didn't want to have my dad, and I also bought one. I borrowed one of my dad. Anyway, all come in handy. I've got loads of sheets of paper to go with them as well. Big selection there. Again, lots of different grades and whatever. And it comes in useful. But they're really an afterthought. If you can't get away with the main sanders, use these. What else? You need a lot of cleaning. So between sanding, whatever's flying around, you use a broom and a dustpan. Well, this little shovel there. I've got a dustpan brush somewhere, but you need one of those definitely, which is it's one of those things that if you cut through the lead, it cuts off the electricity, and it's called RSC or something like that. But anyway, also you need a drummer cable as well, which is useful. You need a set of little tools for prodding in nails that might be still in. Well, what I've got there is a cat's foot, a cat's paw even, taking out nails. I would probably don't use that, but I'll use the hammer, and I'll probably use the punches as well to punch nails down. They're there. A Stanley knife is always useful. A selection of punches is also useful. Safety first. Good pair of goggles, which I will clean up. Now, I thought I didn't need goggles last time, and it seemed okay until right in the middle of the night, and I realised my tear ducts were full of sawdust. Like, it was just absolutely, well, it wasn't painful, it was just a bit disturbing. Got a mask there, not my usual mask, that one's a bit grubby. You tend to breathe more crap in because it's inside the blinking thing. Look at the state of that, it's got everything in there. But anyway, I've got a better mask somewhere, but don't use them. I mean, I'm sure they're very good, but I don't know, I just don't trust them. Use those. Use a good grade one of those. Hat, it's cold in here, but also it stops the sawdust getting in your hair, and vice versa, it stops your hair getting on the floor, especially when you're varnishing. You'll find hairs everywhere when you're varnished if you don't have a hat on. Good pair of gauntlets. I use builder's gloves, but give you a little bit of defence against the sanders if you should get your fingers caught in them, which I wouldn't recommend because you'll lose fingers, honestly. They're not going to say there's much protection, but they're a bit more protection than having nothing. What else would you use? Great big pair of boots as well, which I'm wearing. I don't like trainers because they tend to mark polished floors, so I've just got a great big pair of steel toe cast boots, which is a good idea. Right, for the filling, I've got a couple of plastic bags to mix the filler on, and I've got these tools, which are like, I think, jointing knives and a caulking, wherever, and you use those to actually shove all the filler into the gaps. They're a bit dirty at the moment, they'll need tidying up. Yeah, a hat. Well, the hat's everywhere. That's what you use for putting it down on the floor. I usually have a long-handled roller, but I can't seem to find it. Firstly, you use roller. Use one of these buckets as well for the long-handled roller on the floor. They're very good. Use tap cloths for getting it ultra clean before you put any of the varnish down. And you've got a smaller roller for detail around the edge. And these blue, I need a new one of those. These blue sort of candy stripe ones are the ones you should use, as far as I gather from the internet, and they did seem to work well as well. Socks! Get a pair of socks that you just know you can throw out, because what's going to happen with those socks is you're going to be using them when you're varnishing. You don't want to be wandering around in boots, Ben. Alright, and little trays as well to go with them. Bin liners, nah, I'm sure we can get something better than that. It's just something to actually mix all of the filler on. And talking of filler, these are all the fluids that you'll need, and these aren't cheap. You know that the filler itself I use is Lecol 7500, which is brilliant. You mix it with your finest sawdust into a paste, well, a runny paste, and you spread it out on the floor, let it dry, then sand over the top of it, and it's fantastic. That there is about 40-50 quid worth of Lecol. Got some left over from last time as well, so I should have easily enough to do this entire form. What you should start off with as well is a primer. Primer. Which one's a primer? Bona primer I use. Some people recommend you don't have to use it, but I like the idea of using it. Anyway, that works really well for me. Then the actual varnish itself, I use Bona Mega Extra Matte. I tried using, I've got a lot of that as well. I've got some left over from last time. 3 there. I mean, this is an 8 metre by about 4 metre floor, and it's a bit big. Right, where else? I've got some primer there, so I've got 2 things of primer, 3 things of extra matte, and I've got 1 silk matte left over from last time. The silk matte was going really well, it was brilliant, and then I put the final coat on and it just went shiny, 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 and I don't like shiny, shiny, shiny. It just looked so 70s and disco, so I had to get some extra matte. I had to sand it. and put some extra mat on it. It was just such a nightmare. But anyway, that's all you need. Well, actually, it's not all you need. It's a very, very boring job. I mean, it's exciting for the first bit when you got these really powerful sanders and you have to run behind the thing. Well, stop it running away. But I mean, I listen to the radio all the time when I'm working, but you can't listen to the radio because it's too bloody loud. So actually, I didn't show you down there. You can use ear protection, or what I use, a pair of Bluetooth headphones. So on that, I have some music playing through them, or some Commode and Simon Mill. Playing through that as well, something like that, a podcast or whatever. It's all nice, you know, and it makes the hours go away. But be very wary that it might not protect your ears as well as a pair of ear protectors would, and it might take your eye off the ball on the safety, being so conscious of safety. So anyway, that's all you use. Oh, there's the just pen and brush. There's a lot there. I mean, you don't have to use all those sanders. You do need that big floor sander though, and there are better ones, but that big one, it's worked for me in the past, and it's the one you can get your hands on quite readily. The little one, I don't know, I'll report back on that on my blog. Boner, brilliant stuff. Lecol, brilliant stuff. As much sandpaper as you can shake a stick at. There's many other sanders as you can gather, but you don't necessarily need them. Brushes, safety kit, hole punches, smearing on tools for your filler, and rollers and buckets for your varnish. But what we got there, yeah, cable reels, yeah, that's about as much as you need. I'm sure I missed something, but no, that's pretty comprehensive. It's not cheap. I mean, these floorboards have gone down, they've been pretty free, but it's been a heck of a job finding them all, because essentially from this room, when I've took them up, they all got damaged. Well, not, a lot of them got damaged. And basically, when I relayed them, they only came from there to about there. I had to find all that rest from the other rooms, and it took ages. So it's been a big job, and I'm sure it's going to work beautifully. But as I mentioned on my webpage, I'm not at the best of days. My car's decided to throw a wobbly, so it's now 7 in the evening. I have my daughter tomorrow, which leaves what's left of this evening and all of Sunday to get this all done, which is going to be a stretch. But anyway, I'm sure it'll be fabulous. Anyway, thanks for looking in. Oh, another thing, wear lots of warm clothes, especially in a house like this. Right, I'm going to have something to eat before I start. Anyway, this is me signing off for mydreamhouse.co.uk. Thanks ever so much, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye.